guys saw the title, obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. Gonna be at Fright Fest for today and tomorrow. Let's get into it. We got under 15 minutes until the park opens, and you guys may be thinking, what are your plans for tonight? Since it is the evening, wasps, I imagine, will not be an issue. So naturally, Screaming Eagle is going to be my first stop because in the daytime, at least for right now, wasps swarm the rides, and I don't feel comfortable taking the risk of getting stung while on Screaming Eagle. So gonna do that first thing. Maybe I'll hit up Boss soon after that if that's open. American Thunder is top priority when it gets dark out. I've always said 2019 was the best year I've seen it run, and I got a couple rides on it a couple of visits ago where it was the best I've seen it run since my best rides ever, which came in October of 2019. So I'm gonna see if American Thunder has some of that magic in tonight's rides, because I still haven't been on it since those rides. I have been coming ever so close to a first screen or Star Labs Max on Justice League, so I would like to get that at some point before the end of the season. So we're gonna put some more effort into getting that tonight. This should be a fun one, so make sure you guys watch to the end so you can see what happens. Not a ton of airtime on Screaming Eagle just now, but it was still very solid. Got front row Blue Train Zen Ride. There were some people that got to Catwoman before I got to Screaming Eagle. I do take long strides to make sure I can get up there quick, which obviously they're just walking fast. Some people must have been running full speed to get up to Catwoman, so I'm surprised I got first train on Eagle given how some people beat me up there. So now I'm gonna go down towards the Boss, take a ride or two on that, and we'll see how it's running today. Wasn't the only coaster I got first ride of the day as a Zen ride in the front row on. Boss was another one, and it was a trimless Zen ride, so that was awesome. Second half was decently fast, although not the fastest I've seen it run because I was the only one on the train, and it was also a slow train. The app told me that it ran too slow around turning mid-course, which doesn't surprise me because I felt it in my gut. I'm like, oh my, it's going slow. So I definitely am going to come back to that one later when it's warmed up. Now I'm going to go down towards Justice League and Mr. Freeze and get some rides on both of those, and who knows, maybe I'll get a Zen ride on Mr. Freeze as well. A Zen ride on Screaming Eagle, a trimless Zen ride on Boss, and then a first try double max on Justice League. Bro, I am him. I had 530,000 after screen 1, which is lower than usual. I didn't get a second screen max, and I didn't even hit the button on the crane to deactivate it because it wasn't working properly. So I cannot believe I got that. Now it's time to take a couple rides on Mr. Freeze. years I've been a coaster enthusiast, never have I ridden a coaster 150 times. That all changed this year with Mr. Freeze. So I just got 2 rides on it, front and back to side A. That puts me at 150 rides on it for the year. As for which ride I preferred from the back, I definitely like the back row better. The front was a bit smoother, but the back I thought had more intensity to it, so therefore I liked it better. I was gonna do American Thunder. I don't think that's open right now according to the Flashbulb's website, so I'll come back to that after a while. It's eliminated on Justice League once. Let's do a second or third round of this while we're here. Just did a few more laps on Justice League with my brother, and on my last ride, I am very surprised I maxed it. My blaster in screens 1 and 2 was not working very well, so I had to switch to another one which had 0. Somehow got it still, so that was pretty impressive. Now, it is time to ride American Thunder. This coaster is on trial because my most recent rides on this were by far the best I've seen on it in years. So, I'm gonna take a few rides on this and see if it'll still have some of that magic from those other rides.
She's old, she's 17 years old. Enjoy your ride on the American Thunder. Welcome back, riders. How was it? Oh, great. Be sure you grab all your personal belongings and fix your love number.
Last time I rode American Thunder, I did 2 rides, front row, blue train, left side with a good amount of airtime room, and it was insane. Naturally, I had to try the exact same thing tonight to see if it was just as good as those other rides. Well, I don't think it was quite on that level, mainly because it was rougher tonight. It was still absolutely insane in terms of ride experience. So, I'd still say for tonight, it has a little bit of that 2019 magic in it. Now, if only it always ran like this. I recently did Pandemonium, Boss, and Screamin' Eagle at night. Pandemonium was not good because not only was there not much spinning, the ride-up stapled me into oblivion. Like, it was by far the hardest I've ever been stapled on it. When I got off, I checked my thighs to see if they were bruised. There were. It definitely felt like Sky Rush in terms of how bad I was getting stapled, so that's definitely not good. Boss, thankfully, was incredible, though. I got front row yellow train. The first half of the ride was a lot darker than I remembered it being, although my imagination really tricks on me. The second half was good, too, so overall, it was very solid. Screamin' Eagle, on the other hand, was not good. I did second and back with red train. Would have done second back with the blue train, but some people wanted me to go ahead of them so they could ride with their crew, which I'm like, alright. And it was abysmal. So, honestly, I would say my blue train Zen ride earlier when the park was open was better, which is very rare that I say that over a night ride. That's just how my experience on Screamin' Eagle was tonight. So, since Screamin' Eagle gave me a bad headache that pretty much knocked me out for the rest of the night, let's do Justice League till close. We got a little over an hour to get some more maxes, so let's do it. As I so often do, I forgot to share my ride count from last night, which it was 14 on Justice League, 2 on American Thunder, Boss, Mr. Freeze, and Screamin' Eagle, and then 1 on Pandemonium. And as you guys can see right now, I am outside the park because I'm going to be getting some shots from out here before heading in. And even though the park opened a little over an hour and a half ago, it's a lot busier than I thought it'd be for this time of day. The main line is decently full already, so I'm not surprised that it's like this though, because it is very nice out. I think it's like maybe in the mid 70s, so that would explain why it is so nice out here. to 1:30. It's now about 3:15. So that's all you need to know about how long I was out there for. As for what I'm gonna start off with, after my marathon on Justice League last night, I am semi-close to 2,600. I'm gonna see if I can try and get that today, or at least get really close to it. So we're gonna go over there, start off by doing that a few times, and then we'll hit up Mr. Freeze. The park's been open for just over 3 hours, and the line for Justice League is already outside the building. This is very surprising, given how it doesn't usually get this packed this early in the day. So if it's this bad now, I can only imagine how bad it'll be later on. 2 rides on Justice League down so far. The second one I did get a double max, and now I am less than 25 off of 2,600. Now I'm gonna ride Mr. Freeze, and this is the back of the line for it at this time of day. So this is like absolutely insane how packed the park is already. And I mean, the second lot was already filling up when I was getting shots. And you can see what's going on there. Rollback, although that one went decently slow, I'd say. So not sure I'll be able to get a rollback on it today, but you never know. Anything could happen. So let's take a ride and see how it's going. did Mr. Freeze and the front of side B a little bit ago, and it was pretty good. And then I did my third ride on Justice League for today, which I don't know what was going on with Screen 3, but it was glitching a ton. It was doing all sorts of weird things I've never seen it do, like it was spazzing out, I guess if you will. So that made it unplayable. So usually it's Screen 2 that does that, if there's anyone that does. But I've never seen Screen 3 do that before in my life. I was watching the security camera after I got off. It wasn't doing it for one of the other vehicles, so maybe it's just a temporary thing, but I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't do that again. the front row, but there were flash passes ahead of me, so they got the front. I'm like, okay, might as well just second it back. Ended up getting stapled by the ops, so I knew I was in for a bad time right then and there because there was also no air time. And to make things worse, it was trimless. So the one time I don't want it to be trimless, that meant it would be way faster and therefore way rougher. It was just pure misery. In fact, I dropped it out of my top 20, so that ride was just terrible. The Blue Train on Screaming Eagle at night was everything that Boss was not. It was glass smooth compared to my ride on Boss. It had good air time, great sense of speed. Overall, very enjoyable ride experience. Now let's see if I can get a front row night ride on Boss and see if it can redeem itself from that absolute disaster of a ride I had a little bit ago. If you guys aren't familiar with Six Flags St. Louis, the last turn for Boss is pretty close to the entrance of the ride. And this is the back of the line. This is crazy. I feel like they could definitely get away with 3 train hops on this thing. Rode front row on Boss a little bit ago, and it was a lot better than my ride in the second and back row. But that being said, I've seen it run quite a bit better on multiple of my rides this year than it did on this one. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys about something. If you told me at the beginning of this season that this would drop to my number 3 in the park, I would have said you're insane. But with the exception of opening day and a couple rides here and there, I haven't been the most impressed with this ride, mainly because the mid-course has been hitting as hard as it did in 2018 and 2019 on most of my rides, and the roughness has been a lot worse this year than it has in previous years. Because of that, I think Screaming Eagle is now the best wind coaster at Six Flags St. Louis and my number 2 in this park behind Mr. Freeze. I didn't think that Boss would drop to my number 3 in the park after opening day, but here we are. right now, and I'm finally getting towards Justice League. I was about to ride Joker Carnival of Chaos with Will at night. We were going to do that a couple weeks ago, but it broke down for the night. We were next to get on and saw how to guest illness, so we were waiting for, I don't know, 10, 15 more minutes than we would have otherwise. So we still had a really good cycle though. We got base down swings and max, that was awesome. And on a couple of the max swings, we were actually facing straight up. One of them I saw Boss's lip tail lit up green upside down, which is cool. But what was even cooler was the next one I had, which I saw an orange moon rising over behind Screaming Eagle. So that was really sick. So now let's see how many more maxes we can get on Justice League in the last half hour the park is open for. I forgot to share my ride count from that Saturday as well, but it was 10 on Justice League, 2 on Boss, and then 1 on Mr. Freeze, Joker Carnival of Chaos, and Screaming Eagle. In terms of highlights, my second ride on Boss, along with my night ride on Screaming Eagle were good, and the same could be said for my ride on Mr. Freeze earlier in the day. I can't really think of anything else notable that happened besides that, although seeing Screen 3 on Justice League spaz out was quite interesting. And before you click off the video, please be sure to leave a like if you haven't done so already, be sure to comment what you enjoyed about the video, and be sure to share it with someone else you may know. If you're new to the channel and like what you saw, please consider subscribing for more content like this. I'd appreciate you subscribing and turn the bell on so you get notified every time I upload a new video. I also have an Instagram account for the pictures I take whenever I visit a park, so please check me out there as well via the link in the description. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you later.